Rocky. All women do too. Everybody loves Rocky, right?
Yes.
This is actually from Rocky 3. It's actually a scene directly from the movie. I bet you didn't know that in every movie, just about every movie, I was watching a movie last night, Not Easily Broken, and it's in that movie also, there is a musical interlude. What this musical interlude does in a movie is that it takes you from one span of time to another. It takes you usually from a low point in your life to somewhere that's higher. It can be the process of people falling in love. It can be, as in this point, it can be when Rocky got beaten up by Clubber Lang. His manager died. All these different things happened, and so he had to train with Apollo Creed to become a better man and a better boxer. By the end of that small 2-minute scene in the movie, he had achieved and moved from not being able to box with Clubber Lang to being the boxer that he needed to be. Now in our mind, we know that that actually was an 8 or 12-month experience that was going on. But it passed by in 2 minutes in a movie. If they were making a movie of your life, what music would be playing right now? Just think about it. Maybe there's something you're going through in your life. Maybe you're going from A to B in your life, because we're always progressing in our life. Because if we're not progressing, we're going backwards. That's the only thing that we can do. There's only two places. There is no standing still in life. You're either stepping forward or you're going backwards. So what music, if they were going to make, because we're all going to hope. We're all going to hope that we're going to live to be 80 years old, 90 years old, 100 years old. So if they were making a story of your life, this moment in time in your life, what music would be playing? Think about that while I'm talking about it. We're talking about going from A to B. And today we're going to talk about something that keeps us from moving from A to B. This is a true story. The names have been changed to protect the stagnant. Now, when I was a kid, I went on a field trip with my science class to a pond behind our school. We looked at the dirty, stagnant water. We were all like, ugh, it's got pond scum. It was terrible. But my teacher said something to me that I never forgot. She told us that molecularly, there was no difference between this standing, scummy water and the water that rushed down in the rivers, in the streams. There was no difference. That clear water, Rocky Mountain High, Colorado, Coors. Some of us are too young to drink Coors. Rocky Mountain High. The clear, beautiful water. That stuck in my head, and it made me think about something. And about 2 years ago, I was at a job, and I saw all of these different examples of being stagnant. And I want to share them with you today. The first person I want to share with you is Andy. Andy has been blessed enough to make it into middle management. There's so many people who are stuck right there in that area. They feel like they have so much power, but they really have nothing. And he wielded his minimum power on people lower than him all the time. You see, he was lucky to make it to the position he made it to. He found the right person who kind of straightened his life up a little bit. So whenever he saw anyone who reminded him of his old life at all, he made a point always to put those people down. Always putting his foot on their back. Always saying these negative things about them. But he never realized that his judgmental ways actually were causing him to become stagnant. Do you know Andy? Does Andy reside in you? It may not be as extreme as what I'm talking about with him, where it's an all-the-time thing. But we all look at people and make judgments. We look at a person and say, they can't do this. We look at another person and say, they can't do that. And it causes us to be stagnant. And while we're stagnant, that bacteria of negativity sits in between us. Let's think about Andrew. I want to talk about another guy. His name was Daryl. Daryl's a lovable guy. Very happy. But the moment that you talk about anything from his past, everything flows about everyone who stopped him, who kept him from getting to the point where he needed to go, who he could have made it to this point if he hadn't. He spends all of his time in the rearview mirror. What would you do if you really just looked forward in your life? The things that have happened to you in your life have already happened. There's absolutely nothing that you can do to go back to change any of those things. There are many things in my life that I wish I could go back and change, that I wish that I could do differently. And I know that there's I spend time doing this. I'm not talking to you today because I'm the expert and because I know any better. I do it myself. But just think about it. Spending all of that time in the rearview mirror, you run right past things that were wonderful, that are right in front of you. Lastly, I want to tell you about Sean. Sean spent so much time wanting to be so grandiose, so wonderful, be the lovable person, be all these different things, that he created an alternate universe in his head. In his head, he had all the money. He had all the connections. He had all these different things. But all the lies that he was telling himself stopped his growth completely. He was really a likable guy, but could never get past the millions of lies that he constantly was telling. Now, none of us here are that extreme. But I know we sit here and we think about what it is we should have, what it is that we could have, all these different things. We spend all of our time in the clouds and such little time with our feet in the ground. You see, ladies and gentlemen, if it's Andy, if it's Daryl, if it's Sean, all of those people reside in me. I can sit here and I can tell you that. It's a battle all the time. And what it does is that it causes us to become stagnant in our life. Stagnant water is bad to drink, but living a stagnant lifestyle is bad for you. You're unable to move. You're unable to go. You're unable to process. You're unable to think. And you're here, you're stagnant. So what do? How do we change this? How do I break this up within me? How do I stop this stagnant lifestyle that I have? Well, the first thing you do is that you have to take care of yourself. You have to concentrate on things mentally, socially, physically, within you, spiritually. Always keep moving forward with your ideas. Keep looking forward. Learn from the things that have happened behind you, yes. But you have to move forward. And what happens is it's like throwing a pebble into that stagnant pond. And the ripples start. And you break up the bacteria. And you break up all the negativity. And the next thing you know, the next day you're doing something different. You're doing something different. And positivity starts to come into your life. And then that negative, stagnant water starts to break up and starts to move. And the next thing you know, you're a positive stream of energy in this world. Man, Toastmasters.